Karl Heinrich Marx and Charles Robert Darwin were born worlds apart, approximately 9 years difference in their ages, the latter being the elder of the two. The philosophies of these two geniuses were new, and in Darwin's case, so resolute and contrary to the predominant belief of creationism that they absolutely pervaded the social, economic, and educational psyche of part of the world's community. Karl Marx was born the son of an attorney in a prominent middle-class Russian family. He was highly educated and attended both the University of Bonn and the University of Berlin. In 1836, Mr. Marx became engaged to Jenny von Westphalen, a Prussian aristocrat. They finally married in 1843 and had 7 children. While studying at the university, Mr. Marx became interested in the teachings of George Hegel. The core of Hegel's philosophy is that there are 2 states, thesis and antithesis, and the synthesis of these 2 states of existence form a synergistic manifestation that evolves into the absolute idea. As he began his life's journey away from Russian soil, Marx's ideas slowly began to evolve. He and his wife moved to Paris, whereby he began to formulate his idea of dialectical materialism. This philosophy is based upon his encounters with not only the teachings of Hegel, but also the teachings of St. Simon, Proudhon, and Fourier. Perhaps one of the more influential inspirations for Mr. Marx's ideas was a Russian anarchist named Mikhail Bakunin. Bakunin's ideas suggested that all social restraints that limited the personal freedoms of mankind should absolutely be destroyed. Mr. Marx met and formed his alliance with Friedrich Engels while living in Paris. Engels and Mr. Marx's collaborative relationship lasted their entire lives, and together they authored what is considered their most important work, the Communist Manifesto. Marx's ideas are what Lenin based his call for revolutionary change in Russia. In 1917, during a mass demonstration of women workers, Nicholas II, the Tsar of Russia, sent his army to squash the protesters. The women convinced the army soldiers to drop their weapons and join in the fight. Nicholas II was dethroned and a provisional government was formed. This government was based on communism, and it had a foothold in the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, or USSR, through several presidents, and did not end until its collapse in 1991. Charles Darwin was an English naturalist. He established early in his career the belief that all life descended from common ancestors and that life's descension is based upon a process he called natural selection. Mr. Darwin married his cousin, Emma Wedgwood, on January the 29th, 1839, and immediately they began their new life in London. Together they had 10 children, 3 of whom died at very young ages. Darwin published a synthesis of his theory of natural selection and the transmutation of species in his 1859 book entitled On the Origin of Species. His theories were grounded in biology. However, it was soon adapted by social theorists and applied to the evolution of society. Herbert Spencer, an Englishman and social Darwinist, is perhaps the most representative of Darwin's theory as applied in a social context. In America, social Darwinism is very evident. Historian Richard Hofstadter referred to the United States as the Darwinian country. Here, Spencerian social Darwinism was far more popular than in Herbert Spencer's own country of England. The years following the Civil War were characterized by great industrial expansion in the United States. The expansion was dominated by growth in the steel and oil industries and banking and asset and management. However, none did as well as Andrew Carnegie, John D. Rockefeller, and John P. Morgan. These leaders of industry so exploited the natural and human resources of the United States that they were called robber barons. Perhaps the greatest proponent of social Darwinism in the United States was William Graham Sumner. Mr. Sumner was a political and social science professor at Yale University. His work focused on the idea that social change, including educational change, is always a gradual and evolutionary process. Furthermore, humankind's survival depends solely on our ability to adapt to our environment by modifying our lives in accordance with sociological, educational, and technological growth. If you have found any of the information presented in this presentation interesting and would like to know more, please review the references and add them to your library. Thank you for listening.